Well, good morning. While a coworker was talking on the phone, I asked her if it was business or personal. She said that it was none of my business, and I said it must have been personal and don't get personal about it. Years ago, when I was going through my career change, I was working on putting my resume and cover letter together and heading for New York City. So I had a good friend who was very bright working on my resume, and my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, was working on the cover letter. So when I was telling this to one of my coworkers at Amtrak, he asked, if your friend is working on the resume and Mary is working on the cover letter, what are you doing? And I said, what all good executives do. I'm delegating the small stuff and I show up at the interview. After a major snowstorm one weekend, I asked this woman that I worked with how many inches she got over the weekend. She said it was rough. We got about 10 inches of freezing snow. And then I told her I wasn't talking about the snow. When my girlfriend in college broke up with me, she said that she doesn't hear the violins. And I told her that it's possibly because I don't play the violin. I met my life on Labor Day weekend, which is apropos, as they say, because it's been a labor ever since. I may have stated this before in an earlier episode, but both my wife and I loved this when she met a guy that I worked with at Amtrak, to which he said that when he met Mary, it was very nice meeting you, Mary, and I'll pray for you every night. That was a keeper. Marriage is an institution in which a man loses his bachelor's degree and a woman gets her master's degree. And nobody loves me but my mama, and she could be jiving too. That's a quote from B.B. King. A woman drove me to drink once. I will always be indebted to her for that. That's from one of none other than W.C. Fields. Litigation is a machine in which you go into as a pig and come out as a sausage. This definition is from Ambrose Pierce's book, The Devil's Dictionary. I just got back from a pleasure trip. I took my mother-in-law to the airport. That's from Henny Youngman. When I invite a woman to dinner, I expect her to look at me in the face. That's the price she has to pay. That's from Groucho Marx. He knows nothing and he thinks he knows everything. That points clearly to a political career. And that's from George Bernard Shaw. And this reminds me of someone describing Trump. It's not what you remember, it's what you forget. And it's not what you do, it's what you don't do that matters the most. Think about this one. I am is reportedly the shortest sentence in the English language. Could it be that I do is the longest sentence? And that's a classic from George Carlin. How is it possible to have a civil war? Another George Carlin comment. A lot of people wonder why so many Mexicans and Latinos want to come to America. Everybody knows about the jobs and the money here, but that's not the reason they come. It's very simple. This is the only country in the world that surgically reattaches penises. They don't do this in Mexico or South America, and that's from Paul Rodriguez. A doctor gives a man 6 months to live. After those 6 months, the man couldn't pay the bill, so the doctor gave him another 6 months. It's from Henny Youngman. Men think that if you're getting laid, everything is fine. Women think that if they feel good, everything is fine. It turns out that neither is a very good indicator. That's from Mark Lawrence. In times of rapid change, experience could be your worst enemy. John Paul Getty. The reason they call it the American dream is because you have to be asleep to believe in it. That's from George Carlin. One time a cop pulled me over for running a stop sign. He said, didn't you see the stop sign? I said, yeah, but I don't believe everything I read. It's from Stephen Wright. The best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with the average voter. And that was from Winston Churchill. Tell him I've been too busy fucking, or vice versa. Dorothy Parker. I never let my schooling interfere with my education. That's Mark Twain again. I could be wrong, but I'm not. And that's from the song Victims of Love by the Eagles. The whole problem with the world is that the fools and the fanatics are always so certain of themselves, and wise people are so full of doubts. That's Bertrand Russell. Go to heaven for the climate, hell for the company. Mark Twain. Save the Earth? You got to be kidding. The planet has been around for over 4 billion years and has witnessed the extinction of millions of species, and we're worried about discarding plastic containers and killing too many trees. This planet will long outlive us when it's tired of us, and it will shake us off like a dog does with fleas. George Carlin. Nature never deceives us. It is we that deceive ourselves. That's from Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Reality is a crutch for people who can't cope with drugs. Robin Williams. I'm a great housekeeper. I get divorced, I keep the house. Zsa Zsa Gabor. Here's to women. Would that we could fall into their arms without falling into their hands. And that's Ambrose Bierce. Let me say that again. Here's to women. What that we could fall into their arms without falling into their hands. That's better. The definition of the word pray, to ask the laws of the universe to be annulled in behalf of a single petitioner. Ambrose Bierce. The masochist says hurt me while the sadist says no. I don't know who came up with that one. The definition of love is a temporary insanity curable by marriage. Ambrose Bierce again. The friendship definition, a noun. A ship big enough to carry two in fair weather, but only one in foul. Ambrose Bierce again. You have the right to kill me, but you have no right to judge me. And that's Walter Kurtz from the movie Apocalypse Now. Groucho Marx asked, would you like to go to dinner with me? To which Tallulah replies, hell no, and I never thought I would enjoy saying it so much. To which Groucho replies, I never thought I'd enjoy hearing it. Only Groucho could do that. Not only do I not know what's going on, I wouldn't know what to do if I did. George Carlin. Don't part with your illusions. When they are gone, you may still exist, but you have ceased to live. They're completely incompatible, so of course marriage is inevitable. Gore Vidal. I have a photographic memory. I just don't have any film. Stephen Wright. Theory is important, at least in theory. Keith Martin. Why do Jewish men die before their wives? They want to. Henny Youngman. The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. George Bernard Shaw. I guess that's the earliest I've ever been late. Yogi Berra. Only he could say that. Wise men talk because they have something to say. Fools because they have to say something. Plato. I consider sex a misdemeanor. The more I miss, the meaner I get. Mae West. We live for the memories we leave in each other. And that's Christopher Morley. We live for the memories we leave in each other. In America, anyone can become president. That's the problem. None other than Gore Vidal looking into the future. Real education should educate us out of the self into the something finer, into a selflessness which links us with all humanity. And that is from Lady Nancy Astor. In seeking wisdom, we are wise. In imagining that we have attained it, we are a fool. And that's from Rabbi Ben Azai. Sometimes I wonder if men and women really suit each other. Perhaps they should live next door and just visit every now and then. That's from Katharine Hepburn. You want to find the truth in life? Don't pass music by. Eric Burden. I hate to advocate sex, drugs, alcohol, violence, or insanity to everyone, but they've always worked for me. That's Hunter S. Thompson. I don't know where we come from, don't know where we're going to, but if all this should have a reason, we would be the last to know. The song Rock Me lyrics from Steppenwolf. War does not prove who is right or wrong, but who is left, and that's unknown. Kindness is the language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. Mark Twain. And plan to be spontaneous tomorrow. Stephen Wright. I think I am, therefore I am, I think. George Carlin. And lastly, everybody needs his memories. They keep the wolf of insignificance from the door. And that's from Saul Bellow, and I am out.